Hey, Trackside Mike here, and welcome to the road to Amherst. Y'all haven't heard of that? That's the big show in Amherst, Springfield, Mass. It's the big train show of the year, one of the biggest shows I've ever been to, and yeah, I'm pretty excited for next week down in Springfield, Massachusetts, to see all the manufacturers and train layouts, you name it. I've never seen anything as big, but I'm going to show you the floor plan and a list of vendors that's going to be at the show. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's like 385 vendors, so it is a big show. I'll just quickly say hi to everybody. Floyd Robertson, I did a test last night with one of the manufacturers I got coming up. And he commented on it, and he was like, got the cookie, and then I set this show up, and M&M Rails got the cookie. So we had M&M Rails, Almar, Floyd Robbins, James Dundas, Mike H.O. Trains, Brian Ferguson, Robin Gagnon, Mom and Son, how you doing? Derek Alexander, Roger Coleman. Just going through the chat, saying hi to everybody. Chris, Model Train Aficionado, how are you? Todd Armstrong, Ronald Rondu. I think I said hi to Mike H.O. Trains, John Garvin. And I'm almost at the bottom here. Yeah, everybody saying hi to everybody. So I'll bring up the first guest. Y'all might have listened to his podcast or met him in person. He'll be at the show at the Young Building, Southwest Railroad, and Curly Express. How's it going? Anthony Borden. He's a bunch of people jumping on. Bub 031, Deep Run Railroad Mike. And I think I caught up. So with our first guest I'm bringing up, Ray, how's it going?
Let's take me off of mute like I know what I'm doing here. What's happening, Mike? How are you?
Really good, really good. Hopefully it's warmer there than it is up here, but
only slightly warmer. It's still not t-shirt and shorts weather, but nice. It's dry, so that's kind of good. No snow or no ice and no mess, so that's definitely helpful. So
we're looking good for weather-wise when we're heading down next week.
I think you're going to want to dress warm for travel.
I'm already
but I don't know, the 10-day forecast, it's hard to predict exactly what the weather is going to do, of course, and sometimes I don't know if they can predict tomorrow. So looking at the 10-day is looking promising. So either way, it's as long as you can get there, everything else is good because it's inside and warm. So you don't have to worry about that too much. Just got to get there.
Yeah. Crossing Buffalo to Albany, New York. That's where it's like you never know what you're going to get.
Oh yeah, the I-90, the road to nowhere. It's a long ride of, not much to look at along the way. It's quite a trek across there, but glad you guys are going to be able to make it out again and be able to see you there at Amherst at the show.
And you're at the Young Building, correct?
Yeah, I'm at Young 89D. I'm right by the door, and I'm not sure what building it goes out to. If it's out to Mallory or Stroh, we'll have to clarify that a little later with the man that knows all things Biggie in the show. But it's a great spot right by the door. Hard to miss if you're walking through the Young Building. If you go out one door and you don't see me, it means I'm on the opposite side. So, yeah.
Right. Very nice. Yeah. And like I said, people that haven't been to the show before, when you're talking like buildings, they are huge. It's not just a small building. It's like 4 buildings.
It's huge. Yeah.
And that's a fairground, right?
Yeah. So, Yep. It's the home of it's the Eastern States Exposition. It's home of the Big E, which is like I think it goes 2 or 3 weeks or some crazy thing like that every fall. It's kind of like the agricultural fair that most places in America, and I'm sure places in Canada have as well,
Yeah.
the agricultural fair, but it's
Yeah.
the big one. It's the one that's really covering all of New England. So it is massive for that. So having the train show there makes it, just massive in the fact that it's at this huge facility. So
Yeah. We have fall fair here, which is like county fall fair, but it's like the biggest one at the end of the year. And
Yep.
I try to explain this train show to people. It's like 6 times the size of that.
Yeah.
And they're like, seriously? And it's trains. I'm like, it's right from S scale to 7.5 scale. And I'm not sure if the big steamer is going to be out front of the building this year again, the 1-to-1 scale steam locomotive.
Yeah, we'll have to ask about that one. But yeah, that's again, and I've said this on the podcast where we're talking to folks, and they'll say, "Oh, it's just another train show." It's like, you haven't been, have you? It's
Yeah.
like you got to go, right? It's just it's one of those events. You have to see it to believe how big it really is and how much is there. It's incredible, and I'm so lucky. I mean, you get to have this big travel. I gotta travel an hour to get to it, so I'm very spoiled to have this amazing event right in my backyard. So I'm a little biased, but because it is our sort of neighborhood show. But I've been to some others, and there's been some
Mhm.
shows, but it really is the SEMA of model railroading, as I like to say. It's the big show.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. You almost wish it was like 3 days. It
Mm,
sounds like a lot, but in 2 days, you
I'm
still
sure.
don't see everything.
I'm sure some vendors are glad it's not 3 days though, because it is exhausting. So I exhibited for the first time last year, and I'm sure you did this too when you're working with Otter Valley, and uh, you talk to so many people. By the end of Sunday, you're just talked right out, and
Yeah,
then it's not a bad thing. It's just exhausting, and it's just a lot, and you see so many people, and you want to catch up, and there are some people you haven't even seen for a year or more
yeah,
that you get to finally get in person, or you've been talking like we're talking now you get to be face to face. And but yeah,
yeah,
by about mid to late Sunday, that the wall appears and you hit it.
yeah. You're
It's
pretty
pretty
much right.
exhausting. Yeah. So
I'll bring up my cohort here. He's going to be
Hey,
helping me. We're both working the show down there this year again.
awesome. Awesome.
And I mean, I went outside to see my buddy from another dealer at the hotel, and I went back to the room, and he was sleeping. Chris was pretty much KO'd. They're done for the day.
yeah, after
So
that first day, like you said, because you're talking all day, like my voice was done,
Yeah.
and I did a short live, and then I packed it in, and I was done. It was good.
Yeah. It is. You have to save your voice. You have to kind of conserve yourself a little bit. And and that's why I've got folks even with me with the podcast, and I love talking to folks. That's why I have a podcast. I love to talk, but I've got to have a couple other people helping me, because if I'm doing all the talking, I'll be done by Saturday night, let
yeah,
alone be able to make it into Sunday. So a 2-day show is really good. You can see the entire show in 2 days, but not to get too far ahead, but you got to have a plan. You can't just go to this show just winging it. You'll leave going, oh man, look at all I probably didn't see this or that. So you got to go with a plan, and you got to so and make sure that you have that. And we can talk about it after, but I've even created a checklist for all the ones that have supported us to make sure you get to these people and say hello, because you really got to be organized to do it, to make sure I hit it all.
yeah. It like say it's big. Like I'll share the screen here eventually and show you the floor plan because it's pretty wild.
John 2618, I see his comment. Do they provide shopping carts? Oh my goodness. I can only imagine what a design, and I can only hear John, who's back, you just hit his head, just hit the desk thinking about, imagine if shopping carts were being pushed around. So
And I do apologize for being late there, computer issues. But Ray, are you in the? Good to see you, by the way.
Yeah, good to see you.
Are you in the same spot as last year?
Yes, I'm at Young 89D. So
good, perfect.
Yeah, I took Ray for a tour last year.
Mhm.
We had extra bodies last year. I'm not sure. I think it's just Chris and I possibly, and Lorne doing the booth. So
Might be a little bit tougher to get away, but we'll see about Sunday. If it's not as busy, then it's a little bit easier to get away, even if it's just one of us at a time. Do a tour and go check out all the different booths and whatnot. So
I have a feeling Otter Valley Railroad is going to be a very busy spot.
yeah,
You guys, this is the third time. The first time you guys came down, you kind of exhibited a little bit and just showed what you had for product. There was some stuff that was like kind of in the pipeline, and just kind of showing I think you had I think it was the trash guns at that point in the pipe load, those cars, the CN cars. And you had a diorama, and then the second year you guys were selling product, and now the third, people are going to be looking for you now, which is going to make it even more busy. You guys are going to drink up on the Red Bulls on your ride out and get cranked up because you're probably going to need all that energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, without holding up our next guest, should we bring up the next guest or
bring him in?
Bring him in.
Bring him in. There's the man, the myth, the legend.
Hey guys,
there he is.
How you guys
John,
doing?
how are you? Thanks for coming on tonight. And
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Any questions that people have? About how many years have you been doing this train show?
Well, the train show has been going on for over 50 years. This is my 22nd year as show director. And Ray, you're at the east entrance to the Young building.
Okay.
Yes.
And that faces the Mallory complex.
Mallory. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the tricks, right? When you first start, when you get there, like just kind of getting the lay of the land. Like for me, like I still get confused. Like I walk out a door and I think I'm heading towards the BLC and I'm walking away from the BLC. It's like, and they're all right there. You can figure it out, but I still get spun around.
Well, we're gonna have posters on easels at every door, and it'll have a map of the area. And
nice.
We've got stickers for each map that says "You are here," so you'll get a better idea of where you are compared to where the other buildings are. And we still every year get people that walk through the building and they go, "There's 3 more buildings? I thought it was just this one." so it's funny.
What's a square foot? Was it 300 and something square feet?
350,000 indoors. And we've got, and yes, we do have the live steam locomotive coming again this year, providing the weather is good. So it's a 2-foot narrow gauge, but it'll steam up and it'll be sitting on some track and blowing the whistle all day, and that's how the neighborhood knows the train show is in town. But we're kicking off the show this year. You know how we have that air horn? It's a single chime off of a switcher. Well, this year we have a 5 chime. So it's like seriously loud, but it'll be cool. And we the more the better. We may have them all go off. But usually we
like
go back and forth with the steam locomotive when we open the show, so it should be interesting this year.
Nice, because the kids like that, right? They get to go on the steam locomotive.
Yes, and blow the whistle. You get those. I went on there, and it was like that line in the Polar Express. I've been waiting to do this my whole life. And he blows the whistle.
Yeah. So yeah, Mike. Yeah. Kids from ages 2 to 95 all like that to
exactly
be a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say don't count us out because we're in that group.
Oh, and I'm glad to have you up there too. They love it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a well done show, John. And like I said, this is my 3rd year going. And
thank you. I appreciate that.
We look forward to it all year long. After this one ends, I look forward to the following year. When's the next one start?
I fall asleep during the month of February, and
Yeah.
then seriously, then we start up all over again. So
Okay, so I was going to ask you
uh,
after this show. So this show's like Saturday, Sunday, 25th, 26th.
Yep.
Do you start planning like a couple weeks after for the following year, or are you right in the middle of the show?
we start planning for the following year, but we also I have dates for the next 3 years with the fairgrounds. So we're always looking. I'm always talking to all the advertisers, etc. So we're already looking at next year. The hotels actually want me to sign contracts again for the following year already, and usually tell them, just wait, geez, give me a break.
Yeah, John needs to sleep. He's got the do not disturb thing on his door for the whole month of February.
I just got done the show. Give me a bit.
Yeah, but we've got some great indicators for this year, though, as far as numbers, and a couple of the indicators are preseason or pre-date ticket sales. Before the event, you could order them online. They're 2.5 times what they were last year.
Wow.
So and for the first time ever, most of our hotels were booked solid before Thanksgiving. So you still can find some rooms, but they're in outlying hotels. All the ones close have been booked for a couple of months, frankly. And the other indicator is I've had 0 cancellations this year. The show is actually totally sold out. We have 1,550 tables. There's not a single table left, not one.
My next question, and like it said, it's a fairground. Do you ever thought of opening up the other buildings that are on the grounds? Like,
there are none available. Yeah, honestly, I could use another 50,000 square feet right now.
Okay.
I could get another 50 or so exhibitors in that space. But and we talk to the folks at the Eastern States Fairgrounds every year. These are the only buildings that are winterized. I wanted to take the Coliseum, which is right next to the Stroh building, which is now called the A building, by the way. I insist on still calling it the Stroh building because that's what everybody knows it as. But the Coliseum is not heated. It's got a dirt floor, although they are building a wood cover for the dirt floor. So, and then they could carpet it, so it'll be nice. But the big deal is it's not heated. So I can't. It's so close to the Stroh building. I wish I could have it, but there's not a single other building available to us that would work. So we've exhausted the space.
Oh wow.
Do you see it getting big enough that you have to relocate in the future, or are you just
that's a great question. But when I first became show director, that was 22 years ago. The first thing I did, just because of the nature of what I've done in the past, is I looked around for other space. There's nothing 350,000 square feet, not in all of New England, and the only place that has more is Jacob Javits Center in New York, where it's like $80 a day to park. So there's just no way. And it's a union shop, and oh my goodness, you can't drive into the buildings, and too much insanity.
Yeah, plus being in the middle of New York and all the hassle of trying to be in the middle of the city. I can only imagine trying to do that.
I would never do it. I would not have the show before
Right.
And they know we're broke after the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we go down with a few bucks, but we come back with less dollars in the pocket.
Yeah.
It happens.
I believe that for real. There are 8 ATM machines on premises.
Yeah.
And they load them up. And part of our checklist, we have what I call a pre-con meeting, and that was back on early. It's always the first Friday in January, unless it's the first, January 1st. But we sit with the folks at the BE, and we have this large checklist that we go over. And one of the items on the checklist is get the banking people to get here and fill up those ATMs, which they do every year.
Yeah.
By Sunday, they're empty. And
Anthony Bourne has a question.
Oh yeah, I see that. No, Anthony, we've talked about that, and there's a lot of reasons why we will not. Number one, we get killer hotel rates because it's in the dead of winter.
Yes.
And we also are the first show of the season, and a lot of major manufacturers love that kickoff of new product and all of that stuff. So that's why. The third reason, not so big of a deal, because we probably could bump someone if we have to. We're the only show that takes all of the buildings. And there's something at the Eastern States Fairgrounds every single weekend all year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're doing the large scale show at May 3rd and 4th, S scale, O scale, G scale. And we can only get one building. Not that I would take more, because we could fill up a building. But we're moving to the Better Living Center because we need more space for that show. So that's the other show that we do.
Okay, so there's another train show there as well.
Yeah. I've actually, when we say we're the largest show in North America, we've done a lot of research to see if that's true. I actually talked to the guys that said they have the largest train show in Canada, and it was a bunch of guys from, I forget, out west, Calgary, I think. Yeah, and he was telling me, and I invited him to the show. I said, "Come on, we'll exchange ideas and we'll have all kinds of fun." Because all we care about is promoting the hobby. Honestly, that's what drives us. And I said, "So how big is your show?" He goes, "Oh, it's probably about 170,000 square feet." I said, "Well, that's how big one of our buildings is." So we have three, and I wasn't trying to outdo them. I really want to know for sure, are we the biggest show in North America? And according to everybody, we are. So
yeah. It's what I think, the question of, do you move it? Do you move the show, or do you move the time? It's kind of like the 11 herbs and spices of KFC. You just don't mess around with it. It's just been such amazing success.
People have asked
is that it's like, don't continue to evolve it, but you don't change those herbs and spices.
Right. They've actually asked us, do we want to do 2 shows a year? The answer is a resounding absolutely.
I can see that in your face that you don't.
And then in the back of my mind is, are you out of your mind?
I don't want to stay for another 2 days or 3 days.
This is for pulling my hair out. So 2 a year? Oh my God.
Go ahead,
it really is amazing how that show, and you talk about the vendors and how they like to announce stuff. It really is. I've said it on my podcast, the SEMA of model railroading. It really is, and it's amazing how beyond just a train show, it's become a TRADE show as well, and that ability to gather. It's in a great time. It's after the holidays, so all that big swing of the holiday season has passed by, and allows these vendors to get out, not mess, and be able to travel to West Springfield and be all together. And just amazing the stuff that happens, not only with just the people coming to the show, but the people that are vending at the show and the gathering that they get to be able to do there as well. So
there are all kinds of traditions at this show, which I really love. The same group of exhibitors, vendors, they'll all go to the Steaming Tender one night, for example, and others will go to another restaurant. I appreciate that, because I'm big on those kinds of traditions every year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. We have that banquet on Saturday night, and I love doing it. And a lot of people go. We'll get 100 people that'll go because they don't want to fight the traffic. But we don't get much more than that, because everybody else has their thing that they do. And I'm okay with that. So it's great. I mean, I wouldn't mind having more, but I have a great respect for the amount of things that go on outside of the show. So it's very cool. I like it. I like that folks do that. It's like same time next year. It's the only time they see some of these folks. So it's very cool.
So you must have a pretty big team that helps you through the entire process all year long, right?
Yes. Well, in the off season, there's maybe a half a dozen of us, but at the show, there's probably 50 or so of us. And we'll get there Wednesday morning around 9:00. I was just saying earlier today, it's the only show I know of that takes 3 days to set up and 3 hours to break down. Because everybody is just exhausted. They just want to get out of there. But on Wednesday, we'll hit the buildings, and we'll have our survey maps with us, and we'll survey and chalk the floors. And we never it's probably 85% the same, but there are enough changes that we have to pay close attention to where people go. And then they'll lay the carpet down, and they're bringing tables in while all this is happening. And layouts come in on Thursday, and selected exhibitors come in as well, only because of silly reasons. And I say that tongue in cheek. There are some guys that come in that have a heart ailment, for example, and they can't deal with the crowds. It just upsets them. I said, so come Thursday night, let us get all the tables set up first and everything, because we can't go home Thursday night until everything is done, because that's when all the exhibitors come in on Friday. So Friday is my crazy day, because I get situations like, why am I here? And I said, well, because that's where I put you, number one. And well, what? And I said, well, it's been posted since December 1st. So what's up? But I don't get too much of that anymore, because people have gotten used to the traditions that we use. So we post the first iteration of the map and the list on December, the first weekend in December, actually. And it changes because people request more tables. I may get someone drop out, although this year I've gotten nobody to drop out, which is in itself another crazy thing. And so that's why there's some changes, that kind of thing. And then we're actually closing at 4, just because I've had a lot of exhibitors say, John, we have so far to go. We're a little tired. What's an hour? And they can catch flights out a little bit easier and all that. So we're experimenting with it this year. We'll see what happens. And if we need to go back to 5 o'clock, we will. But I think we'll be okay.
Is there a way for people to volunteer to assist with the show at all?
Yeah, there actually is. Well, let me back up a little bit. We have 2 websites. We have AmherstRail.org, which is all about us and everything, and you can volunteer from that website. But we also have RailroadHobbyShow.com. That's all about the show. So we leave the volunteer on AmherstRail.org, because you could volunteer for most anything. You come to our headquarters on Saturday and all that kind of stuff. So you can volunteer. But honestly, if you want to, and you don't have to be a member, we just need to know ahead of time. So if the worst case is email somebody, I'm show director at AmherstRail.org, show office at AmherstRail.org. Any of those we'll talk to you. And I just talked to a guy, a new member. He says, what can I do? And I said, geez, just show up. There's so many things to do. Can you pull the legs out on a table and stand them up with another guy, which is not a lot of weight, all of that kind of stuff. Can you read a blueprint so you could chalk the floors and everything? Can you stand by this door where there's a button for the garage that says up and down, and you could do that while vehicles are in and out of the building, and being facetious, but there's there's all kinds of jobs. So there's always plenty to do. And you'd be surprised how many guys want to volunteer on Friday when all the exhibitors come in, because frankly, Friday is another day of sales for the exhibitors, because everybody, think about it, there's almost 4,000 people in the show on Friday, and that's just from people and volunteers, exhibitors and volunteers. So boy, did they get a quick look at what's going to be out for sale for the weekend. And so a lot of transactions happen, and I love it, and so do the exhibitors. So we don't try to stop it. We think that's one of the big pluses of the show.
Speaking of your team, I can also say that some of the most friendly people too at the doors. Always kind, always smiling, always happy. That's a great thing to see. It's just absolutely outstanding, the exceptional customer service that your folks provide too. You've got them all in the right mentality for sure, John.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, Anthony is asking a question. The schedule for some of the clinics. I didn't see any of the times posted on the website. Actually, they should all be there. If you go to railroadhobbyshow.com, then across the top, I closed my eyes so I could picture it. Across the top, there's a drop menu that says clinics, and that takes you to the clinics. Realizing that we have clinics on Thursday and Friday. It's an extra fee, but you can make a whole destination out of this for a weekend, you know. We've got some great clinics Thursday and Friday. And then there's clinics on Saturday and Sunday, but those are all posted with the times. And also, this doesn't even count all the exhibitors that have clinics at their tables whenever they want. You know, and they usually post those signs at their booths or tables. So there's a ton of things going on. So can you actually come here and learn a lot? Absolutely, you can. There's all kinds of opportunity to learn how to do things.
Yeah, and if you, I'm going to try.
Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, because I am an admin. I just put a direct link in the chat for anybody that's looking for the clinic information. railroadhobbyshow.com/clinics.php is how you can get directly. And that, yes, the schedule is on the website. Scroll down, you'll see them pouring molds in a picture. Scroll down just below that, and you'll see the schedule for all the clinics for 2025.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's very true. Mom and son, Tammy and Ray, very accessible. All 4 buildings. Autism, wheelchairs, anything like that. Like very easy to get in and out for your family and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm very receptive to that. And we've even had for folks. I used to do some work with the Boston Asperger's Foundation, and they used to bring a bunch of kids. I guess they've gotten older, but they were so tough with the noise. There's so much drone of talking at the show. We walked on Friday, and they got to walk around, and a lot of the layouts are already running, so they had a great time without the crowd. So I'm very receptive to that. I have a couple friends that have kids that are pretty high on the spectrum, so I love being able to help in that regard.
I'm going to bring my next guest up too, because he's probably like, hey, Mike, he's itching down there in the basement. I can get up to 10 on here, so we just keep adding as they come in. So if you guys have checked out Scale Signs, this is the owner and manufacturer. I say your name right. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, my name's Thomas Garza, owner of ScaleSigns.com. Ever since the St. Louis show, I've been renamed the Sign Guy.
The Sign Guy.
Yeah. That's not a bad. I've picked up worse nicknames, so the Sign Guy's a really good one.
I might have had something to do with that, Tom. Apologies.
Yeah, it was a pretty.
There you go. I keep telling people, I met this guy in St. Louis. You're not going to believe it.
Well, we were 10 times, 100 times better than we were from St. Louis. A lot of things came out of the St. Louis RPM show that changed my life and changed my company's direction. It's been an incredible ride ever since that show. So I'm happy to be here on the show. And yep. And I love talking trains. I mean, that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is I've been, playing trains since I was a kid. And as you get older, your trains get bigger. And we talked the other day, Mike, and you asked, how they got started. And I was young, 20, didn't have the house yet, but I had a friend who did, and he had a layout in his basement. And here next to Lansing in Michigan. And he had a layout, and you always get to that part where, hey, one part of your layout you really like, and then the other part you're still trying to build. Where you get to that part that's getting close to detailing, and he had roads and stuff, and I'm like, oh, what's missing? I go, we need some road signs on here. That just add some detail. It's that fine little detail that's missing. And I happened to work for a place that was called Electrographics. It was an electronic prepress output bureau. Huge word.
Yeah.
But that's where you send your film. That's where you send your artwork to be broken down into film so that you can send it to press. Like Model Railroad Magazine's going to send it to a prepress output bureau, take all their digital files, turn it into film to send to press. Well, sometimes those people like to see if that artwork is to true color. And so we had these methods to proof that film. Well, it was that method. I'm like, hey, I can make signs on this proofing system because it's shiny, like a real sign. Because it's kind of like a photographic material, I was able to spray paint the back of it silver and it wouldn't bleed through like paper would.
Right.
And so then that's where I just said, you know what, I'm going to try to make these signs. And it just grew from there. This was back in 1995. And then I started selling hobby shops that were around here back in the day when hobby shops were plentiful around your city. And now they're scarce. And that's why I support hobby shops as much as I can. I would rather have them sell my stuff and people go to hobby shops where knowledgeable people are there and you just get all the help that you want. So that's where it started. So I was at the hobby shops, and then September 11th happened. 6 months later, I joined the Army, and so that shut that company down for a little while. And then I retired 5 years ago, and I got bored. I'm like, hey, it's time to play trains. And then I'm like, hey, I can make signs. So I went on the internet going like, wow, I've been out of the business for like 15 years. And let's see what's out there. And there was nothing out there that was, up to what I thought the standard should be. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start this back up, but use today's technology to take it to the next level. And that's where we are today. And it's just been a phenomenal ride for the last 2.5 years that I had this company.
Nice.
Now we are, we're experimenting with this is O scale, and then
Here, let me make it bigger.
And actually, I just made this bigger. There was a guy from my old company. He says, "Hey, how big can you make this? I can make it a foot tall." And so I made a foot tall.
He's making you bigger, is what he's saying. Yeah. He's making you bigger so we can all see it. That's what he's saying.
We can all see it, yeah.
Well, here's what's crazy. So I made this O-scale cantilever, and I put it up on Facebook, and I actually got an email from a guy. He's like, hey, the phone number on the identification sign is BNSF. Can you change that 800 number to CSX? That's what's crazy about these model railroaders. The detailing that they want is incredible. And I'm like, yeah, I got CSX right down the road. I'll just go over there and go copy the phone number and change it for you. So no big deal. And it's not no big deal. That was I think that's one of the things that is making me a little bit different and easier for a lot of people when it comes to custom work is the computer's doing all the work for me now. I built all the artwork in Photoshop, and it's all in layers. So when a customer needs a Michigan highway sign from M100 to M43, all I got to do is just go change the text to M43 and then print it out. So the computer's doing the work. I have some signs that are already weathered on the front. So, the computer's doing the work for you. And I'm having a blast. I haven't worked an hour yet since I've been running the company.
Awesome.
And,
you say that St. Louis St. Louis is an amazing show. John obviously was there. Mike, you were there at that. Yeah. So, amazing show. But if you think that kind of kicked things off, better hold on to your shorts, my friend, because you're about to go on one heck of a ride here.
Oh yeah.
And just in a couple weekends.
I think if you want his stuff, you're good. It's kind of like Scenic Express. You're going to have to hit his booth first thing because I don't think it's going to stay on the shelf.
I have 3 3D printers running right now, cantilevers, the new cantilevers are the new thing that we just brought out, and those are selling awesome. So I can only make 200 of these things, and yeah, I'm a little fearful that I feel sorry for the people that are probably going to show up on Sunday, that on Saturday they're going to wipe me out, just like the St. Louis show. The St. Louis show was a Friday and a Saturday, and it closed at 5 on a Friday.
We talked about that last night. We're like, I've never been to a show like what was it, Thursday, Friday?
No, it was a Friday,
Saturday.
But on Friday, it closed at 5. Well, that's when everybody's getting out of work.
Yeah.
And I literally probably sold out 85% of all my stuff on Friday, even before people got out of work. And so I felt bad for the people on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's going to be a lot of new stuff. The N scalers, I told them I wouldn't leave them behind. So the cantilevers are going to be an N scale. We built this is a billboard in N scale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're even going to bring out some ones that are already complete, and take this guy out of the frame. And this one is already complete with the lights and the see-through walkways. And of course, these are designed so that
Interchangeable?
Yeah, these are interchangeable. There's a little slide system in there that you can just take them out and then put in the new ones, because I'm going to have over 50 different billboard signs, custom signs, if people even want to. And so then you could just change them. One day you get Dunkin' Donut and you're like, you want to make your wife happy, and then you got to put Starbucks on there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I mean.
That's
that
very nice.
Makes this hobby like the best hobby in the world, because guys like you and other manufacturers come up with these great ideas on, hey, instead of the customer having to buy a bunch of these, why don't he buys one, but he buys a bunch of signs and he can just interchange them or whatever.
That's one of the things that I'm really working hard in, is making things more interchangeable so that customization is going to be easier. Most of the time you'll go to a hobby shop and you'll just get this standard railroad crossing, which is just one direction. But what I have designed is this guy actually comes apart. And so these lights, the signals, they rotate. They actually all this comes apart in pieces.
Wow.
So they're a little tight. I'm working on that because that's what I want. But so then all this just rotates. So you can get that angle you want from streets. And then also we've gotten to the point to where there we go. This thing is so tiny, but the bell, we got an electric bell and we got the regular bell, and that guy will just snap on. So it's it's just the customization of all these parts to kind of make it like Legos. We all played with Legos, so that's what I'm working on is making it so it's all standard, so that guy that wanted to see a 6800 number, that is what customers they want, that detail. And so I'm trying to make it to where it's customizable, easy parts like Legos, and just pick what you want, put it together.
Yeah, we talked last night there that you can interchange these to like French signs and Canadian crossbucks and stuff, right?
Yes. I've Canada being so close, 90 miles from me, they've always been my best friends.
Yeah,
and,
we might be the 51st state, but
and maybe. And but so I've done some studying. I've done some studying on the railroad crossbucks for Canada. They do things just a little bit different, but very close to America, just like your money, your coins. And so those, I've even got some Australian ones. I'm trying to, I see some Australian feedback. So I made some Australian railroad crossings. Like I said before, I'd look at the feedback that I get, and because it's the computer world, at least for me, is super easy, and I'm able to accommodate. I saw a comment, something there about Canadian hobby shops.
We're working on that.
Yes, we are definitely working on that. I have a lot of nice people in Canada that order stuff from me, and I try to throw extra stuff inside their boxes because they'll order some stuff and the shipping costs more than the items, and it just tears me up. So yeah, I'm definitely working on some hobby shops in Canada so that shipping can come down for my customers.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I say, we're not far, right? Lansing's only an hour and a half maybe from Port Huron.
Oh yeah. I mean, probably like an hour and 20, hour 15,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Do you ship the Australian ones upside down to them, or do you send them right side up?
Send them right side up.
I'm asking for a friend, maybe Paul Caspar. Yeah.
No,
A friend of a friend.
But you know what? I'll start packing them upside down.
There you go. Send them. Yeah, I'll send all the Australian ones. Send them around the layout podcast. I'd send them all upside down. We got a great following in Australia, so it's a lot of fun. And there's Australians coming to the show, which is amazing. Marty Jenkins from the NMRA will be there, and his friend Darren Lee will all be traveling with him. Plus, I mean, John, you can probably test it by better than I can. Just the worldwide following that this show gets is amazing.
Yeah, well, especially the NMRA, they're having their whatever quarterly or whatever annual meetings at the hotel where we're all staying on Thursday and Friday. So they've got guys coming from everywhere, men and women from all over the world. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully that works. Yeah, there's the make this bigger.
Is this map burned in your brain yet, John? You must like close your eyes and see this map.
It absolutely is. Yeah. People will ask at the window of the office. They'll say, "Hey, where's Otter Creek?" And I'll go, "Oh, they're the west side, right by the door 8." Just because you're getting used to it, but it's funny. But you know the maps that we talked about earlier. If you look at the relative building location, dead center, and all of that, we're gonna have those built up along with where the exits are, and we'll have a "You Are Here" poster at every single major thoroughfare doorway at the show this year. So. And don't forget, there's a lot of fun things going on. It's Lionel's 125th birthday. It's the NMRA's 90th birthday.
Wow.
So, and there's a lot of new stuff happening in terms of technology. We've got a bunch of video walls that are going to be up this year. So we're talking screens 10 feet wide by 6 feet, showing various things that are happening at the show. So it'll be a lot of fun this year.
Is there something in particular that each of you are looking forward to specifically at the show this year?
The guys, or are you talking me?
Everybody. Open question. Open question.
I'm looking forward to seeing the video walls, to tell you the truth, because they're supposed to be really very cool. And a couple of the surprise parties that are going on for the NMRA and Lionel. So Lionel almost doubled the size of their booth this year because it is their 125th. So they promise a huge display. So I can't wait to see it, frankly. So a few of those things.
Who's 24 in the Better Living Center? Is that Lionel?
No, that's our own Amherst Beltlines. So that's our modular layout group that is a part of the Amherst Railway Society. They take up that space. I never know what the actual layout is going to look like, although I had just yesterday seen the plan for the first time. So that's one of the largest, but that's all of these buildings are just a scale. So if I had to say what's the largest layout, if you look at over on the right, the Mallory complex, all the way down at the bottom, that
is that
159, I guess it is. That's the New Hampshire Garden Railroad Club, and that is a huge G-scale layout. But just to the right of them is the Reading HO scale railroad, and it's 18 feet wide by 160 feet long.
That's amazing.
Absolutely wild. But then if you look all the way over to the east side of Mallory, you've got the New England Fremo guys. That's even longer. It's over 200 feet long.
Oh, wow.
So it's crazy. Yeah, there's some cool layouts at the show. I always enjoy checking those out.
Yeah,
I
a
like
lot
that.
of vendors. I think there was I correct on 350
You were
vendors?
dead on correct. 385.
85.
22 of them are first timers, including scalesigns.com.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm definitely. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to. I've heard so much about this show, the biggest one in the United States. I mean, what great honor it is to be able to be at that show as a manufacturer. So what I'm looking forward to is meeting you all there, and meeting the people. And one of the things that my wife and her friend worked for me. And you know, they answer the phones, and one of the great things about model railroading is I might have never seen you ever, and then all of a sudden you're best friends, because model railroading just brings the best out of everybody. We just want to have fun. I mean, all of a sudden, one minute you're a stranger, and the next minute you're going to be a best pal for life, because you just, you know, it's trains. It's the hobby. It is the greatest hobby in the world. I mean, I've been around some RC guys, and those guys always take up space in the hobby shop. But I just feel like the camaraderie when it comes to model railroading is just amazing. I've never met a bad person in model railroading yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I second that. Looking forward to it's really about the people. It's the camaraderie that really makes the show amazing. It is the who's who of model railroading is at this show, and the amazing access that people get to these folks, to be able to walk up to Atlas or Athearn or Scale Trains or Broadway Limited or Bachman or on and on and on. They're all there, and you can walk up, you can talk to them, you can ask them questions, and in that conversation, what's really cool is you find out that they're model railroaders just like you, with the same kind of passion. They're not just making this stuff because it's popular and they have no idea about it. They are, no kidding, model railroaders. And you know, when you walk up and you talk to Tom at Scale Signs, and you find out that he's a railroader, and you find out his passions in the hobby. So it really is an amazing, you find out that people are just as weird as you are, I guess, for lack of a nicer way of saying it, right? You find out, you know, hey, I'm weird, but all these people are weird too. And you get 4 buildings full of weird people that are just like you and think kind of like you. And, you know, that's definitely, you know, good to be in that kind of community.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what the greatest thing about this is. Like, you know, look at us, we're from Canada, but we travel down there, we travel all across the states and anywhere, and we all share the same passion, right?
Yeah.
Model trains and real trains. Like, we love it.
I mean, that's the reason why, like, the modular railroad crossing, I'm not building it because somebody wants it. I'm building it because I want it on my layout, and it just happens to be I'm going to sell it. I mean, everything I build, you know, is an HO because that's what I got. And of course, you know, those N scalers are always asking, can you build it in N scale? So, you know, I'll build it in N scale. But I mean, everything I'm building is what I want on my layout, and that's how it's going to be. And if I can push the limits for new stuff, I'm going to push the limits for new stuff for my layout, and just happen to share it with everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have the odd train show up here, but like I said, it's Chris, that was your first time last year, right?
It was, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a total eye opener compared to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Like,
we go to trade shows here, and it's like,
yeah,
it's cool, and it's arena size, but it's not Amherst size.
And also, when you go to the same show in your town or a town over, you see a lot of the same things over and over again. Where going, like, I have to drive 7 or 8 hours to get down to Amherst, and it's just I remember last year, like, I'm like, Mike, you got to take me around, you got to show me around, because I don't know where I'm going. And then you're like, well, hold on, we're not done yet, there's another building. I'm like,
there's another building,
and then there was another building. So it was just, my mind was blown because I'm not used to it. it was definitely a huge shock to see just all my favorite manufacturers all in one place. And it was amazing. It was an amazing experience for sure. Looking forward to it again, of course.
I do want to add something and just kind of a note. You know, I'm biased because, you know, Amherst is an hour from me, and it's right in my backyard. And, but there were some other comments, and I saw a couple, you know, or at least one pass through that said, you know, Amherst ruins the local train show for me. And the local train show still has a value, and Amherst doesn't replace it. It just becomes a thing of its own. And I know John in the Amherst Railway Society also supports a lot of smaller shows as well throughout the year. The Vernon Train Show and is one that they've put their horsepower behind, and you know, then they have the large scale show that that John was talking about, and some others. It doesn't replace it. But what it also, to that note as well, is it's funny when I hear other people say it's just another train show. It's like, yeah, you haven't been to it, have you? It's like, you got to come, you got to see it and experience it. And I think John's a little humble when he says largest in North America, because I would question where on the planet there's anything bigger than this thing. So I think you got the planet and the galaxy and everything else all wrapped up, John. I don't think, but nonetheless, it's not I don't think there's a competition at all in this thing. It's just, it is what it is. Which is just absolutely amazing. And there's other great shows that happen throughout, you know, the world when it comes to train shows. This one just happens to be massive and a great time. And there's others that are great times as well. So
yeah, there's another good show right there.
Yeah.
Pop-up event every year, and this year we didn't have one, but I mean, that one's grown over the past few years, and that's just in the summertime, right? There are good train shows out there throughout the year, but they're not huge, as that's what we're getting at.
But I think Ray's right, though. I mean, I don't think Amherst, I'm pretty sure I'm going to really enjoy Amherst because you're right. Probably half the money I'm going to make, I'm probably going to buy trains. Shoot, I forgot the wife's here. But, I mean, I still go to my local train show. The Lansing Model Railroad Club has a train show in November, and I make that one every single time. So, I mean, it's the people there, too. There's always some people. They're like, Garza, I knew you were going to be in the corner because that's where I am in the corner. So before, you know, you've been to Amherst 3 times, Mike, and you're going to see some of the same people. And for a lot of us, that's when we get to see each other is going to be at this show. And it's the same thing at the smaller shows. There's a lot of guys there that are just waiting for that show to come see me and to be at that show. So I don't really think it's going to ruin other shows. I think it's just the way to look at it.
Nope, not at all.
Now I saw a comment on here about making my signs in meters for the bridge height, and I forgot the rest of the world uses metric. So I will.
I think Canada should go back to the imperial system. I don't make them any signs. Just tell them to change. Come on.
So I wrote it on a post-it note. I'll start making some metric.
Lauren, you should have the link. He emailed that to you last night, but I could send it to you again. Lauren James from Otter Valley Railroad. I'm going to send him the link again and get him to come up and have a little chat. But yeah, Stu said it the best, sir. Model Train, I think his review is his channel. The small train shows are still the backbone for sure of the hobby. But how I present Amherst, it's like riding the Canadian, right? There's the Canadian train that runs from Toronto to Vancouver, Calgary, right? That's on the bucket list. Going to Amherst is a bucket list item to do in your lifetime. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does, because one day I want to ride that train too. I've seen some documentaries on that train, and I don't know if I want to take it in the fall or in the winter, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter. I've seen some beautiful scenery on that one day. That is a bucket list for me also on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 4 or 5 days long.
I've never taken it. John Garvin has taken it. I'm not sure if Bernard has taken that train or not. There's a few people have taken that train, but it's not cheap by any means.
No, but it'll be worth it one day.
Yes.
I got a message
here.
I see a message here from Todd Armstrong, and just to let you know, Todd, I still have your email. I just looked at it last week. Just been really busy. That Via train station sign I will definitely be making, because when I was a kid, there's a place here in Lansing called Trowbridge, and Via and Canadian National would come through Lansing, and we would go there because there's a diamond there at Trowbridge, and I saw a lot of Via trains. So Via is a special part in my heart also, so it'll come. Just give us some time.
Yeah, just for example, that train ride is about, I want to say it's $10,000 Canadian. But it's got the dining car and everything on it, and the dome car that you get to sit and go through the mountains and look at all the nice scenery.
Yeah,
it's definitely still a bucket list, but maybe before I say goodbye to this green world or whatever we want to call it we're living in. But yeah, please, somebody else dropped in the basement. There he is, our other guest of the night, and he looks like he's still at the shop.
Yeah.
Hey, John. Hey, Ray.
What's happening?
Chris. Mike.
How are you?
Skill signs.
Garcia, that's Lorne.
Nice
Just
to see
burning that midnight oil, right, John? Just burning that midnight oil for the granddaddy of shows.
Oh, yeah.
There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Berry Show, that is we'll be at the Berry Show. Is that Family Day weekend?
Yeah, so when John was saying, so Super Train is the biggest, but I would argue the crowd is not as train related as Springfield is. Like, Springfield is a rabid crowd of real modelers, real buyers, real collectors, real enthusiasts, from builder to collector to hobbyist to heritage reservists, you name it. It's got all genres of the hobby, and a fair amount of rail fanning now with Virtual Rail Fan and some of the other outfits that have now come on, providing that as a, that's a real hobby, watching trains when you have a rough day at work. You just sit there and have a pop and watch the rail fan for the day. I know I do. But Calgary is the biggest one, John. You are right. But it's a pedestrian 100,000, give or take. The biggest show in the province of Ontario in Canada is Barrie now, and it's maybe 25, 30,000. For our population, Toronto's never had biggest show. Our biggest show we ever had was probably 30, 40,000 years ago at the Christmas show out by the airport. That show no longer exists, even though the population around it is 12.5 million people. It would be fair to say, John, that this show encompasses 200 million people within a day and a half driving. Is that fair to say, John?
Yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah.
Which means there's no other place in North America that can pull that many people.
True.
You got 20 states, 4 provinces that are all reachable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got Quebec, Ontario,
all the East Coast maritime guys.
Yeah, East Coast guys, easy to get to Springfield, right? Only
they have lobster down south. They have lobster down south. They'll still eat it. So our tradition, John, is usually we have twice a year where we eat the Longhorn.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And then usually we go to the one of the other gatherings. Generally for us, hopefully this year's tradition isn't Lorne doesn't lose his truck trailer or his mine on the way there like last 2 years. But we'll get there.
You better not, because I'll drive with you this year.
Yeah, I know. So, but no, we're going Thursday unless we decide to make a quick pivot and go early or late Wednesday night, depending how Canadian and U.S. relationships go next week.
Yes.
It's a very turbulent time for the Great North right now, John.
Yeah, no, listen, I hear you. And I've actually had a couple guys tell me they're coming down Sunday night before all of this might happen. So,
Wow.
That's our move.
Yeah, we've talked about making a hot dash, which we're going to start being prepared late Saturday, Sunday, and
Monday.
be hot to go because we suspect there's a small window.
Well, Lord, just so you know, and you guys there in Canada, my services are out for you. If you need anything that I can do to help, feel free to get a hold of me, and we will work together to make something happen if we have to.
Yeah, well, we have to see what our country does too. It's we're peaceful people in the Great White North.
Well, like I was saying earlier, all his model railroaders are peaceful people, so we will stick together.
So, no, I'm in the back in the shipping room, and we are empty and clean, which is a blessing. We have all our announcements ready to go for the show, John. We have our biggest year for announcements.
Oh, nice.
We have probably our biggest amount of available stock. We have things that people don't know about that will surprise people. We have a couple of new elements. We are a shorter crew. Last year we had 5 in the crew. This year we have 4 of us. Actually, we had 6. This year we have 4. So as Ray put it, I'm gonna be bagged both days, Ray. So I don't even think I'm just gonna go straight to bed with a pizza and forget that.
Well, you got a shorter crew, but Mike's going to be chugging Red Bull from Buffalo all the way to Albany, so you should be good to go for the whole weekend. He might crash on the ride home, but
John, it comes down to is what time does the Buffalo Bills play the AFC Championship game on Sunday? That's the most important thing for me.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I got a friend that likes Buffalo.
But the first one is at 3:30, and the second one is like at 6:37.
Which is usually when everyone wants to be peeled out and having some food and a drink and go to bed and then get up the next morning.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I never saw people pack so fast in my life at that show last year.
True.
Just packed. Now, mind you, I will say this. It's the one show where you can go full bore and come home with an empty a 53-foot trailer like Scenic Express does. It's wild.
Yeah.
John,
they're every year.
Well, that's why they're out of there so quick. They got nothing to pack up. It's all gone.
About right.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
I believe they're a 153. Are they a 253-foot trailer, John? Or are they a 153?
They just have the one.
Okay.
That's a lot of stock.
Yeah, it really is amazing. It takes them an extra day to set that pole. Yeah. It's like a mobile hobby store, with aisles and racks and everything. It takes them a long time to set up.
So you'd mentioned, John, that the pre-sales was 2.5 times last year.
Yes.
I think that if our crystal ball and weather is beautiful, could we shatter a record, you think, John, or am I thinking wrong?
I'm really hoping. Too many indicators are telling me that we're going to have a great show.
Okay.
With most of the hotels sold out, 2.5 times the pre-purchase tickets, and nobody canceling this year. I've had 0 cancellations. I have one guy who wants to get in the show. And he usually comes every year. He was a little late this year. I said, I'm sorry. I got no place for you.
And generally in the past, you have walk-ups, right, John? You have walk-ups.
Yeah,
right?
we do. Yeah. We do. Much like standby. Remember the old days when you could fly standby? You could wait you can't really do that much anymore.
We don't have that in Canada. If we don't get on Air Canada Rouge, we get the Jazz.
Yeah.
We don't get that joke. The Canadians do.
But it doesn't happen down here anymore either. But we actually have people out in the parking lot waiting to see if anybody canceled. Yeah. And half hour before the show, 8:30, If they don't show up, they lose their tables. If there's someone waiting.
Because I remember my first year I went was in 2018, and this is my 6th year. I remember in 18 there was a line for standby as I was buying a ticket that time.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's
and most of it is like people that have deceased people, and they're trying to, find a home for the estate. A lot of that is walk up estate stuff. It really is, because unfortunately, a loved one passed away during the holidays and didn't get on the registry or whatever.
Yeah, there's people this is a great time to do exactly that. But we actually had a couple of smart people who knew that they had collections from folks that have passed away. They signed up early, and they are in the show. So you'll find a lot of great bargains from some people. That's what I like about the show. It's a mix of everything. You could the beautiful
thing about your show, John, is you have one show a year. You don't water it down. You have one show.
And we were talking about that earlier. I never will. One show as long as I'm around.
We have seen the unfortunate side effects in Ontario of too many times in the same area and the same burned out banana box or tomato box, and it just kills off the community.
Yep. It's bad for the vendors. They don't get sales. People don't go anymore because it's the same old people, every quarter or what have you. So I agree with you. We only do it as long as I'm around. We're doing it once a year, period.
So the show that Mike and I are going to, John, in February is in a giant greenhouse.
Really?
Oh, so it's going to be warm then.
Or we freeze. It's one of the two. The last time it was minus 40 below, and I don't know if you know the song. It's 40 below. I got a heater in my truck, and I'm off the rodeo.
Oh yeah, I've heard that a few times.
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
In a snowstorm.
Yeah, we almost died on the way up there. It was fun. Right after Springfield too.
Yeah, that's Family Day weekend, which is February 14th.
Well, we're forgetting. We're leaving our wives for Valentine's, then going, and then leaving our families. It's a double whammy.
Oh, yeah. Somebody's already pre-warned me about that I'm going to Springfield and then that. He said, don't bring home chocolates this time coming back from Springfield. You better bring me back something a lot nicer than that.
So everybody on this episode doesn't know something, but John was secretly at the St. Louis RPM incognito with his right-hand man, Mr. Owens. Tell us about what you learned at the St. Louis RPM that is now coming over to Amherst, John.
Well,
put you on the spot, John.
Yeah. Well,
ScaleSigns.com.
Really. I enjoyed the show. I'll go to other shows just to see if I can pick up some great ideas and pick up some great exhibitors, which I have. All told, we have 29 new exhibitors, and I think 4 or 5 of them were from St. Louis. So it was cool. I thought, I was expecting a prototype meet, but it was a hybrid meet in my mind. It was a prototype meet plus a train show with a lot of vendors, exhibitors. So I loved it because it had that mix. You could go to clinics, you could see all of the work that people had done, and it had a train show, with exhibitors and a couple of layouts. Not that many. I think there was that one N-scale layout. There were a couple other things running, but I enjoyed it because it was a nice mix. So it was cool.
And just like Amherst, Lonnie, who runs it, they have a team just like you do. You have a right-hand man in a group. You're on the phone with the hotels. Their hotels, they have to be very cautious that there's not a St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs game on the same weekend, because the Cubs took control of Illinois.
I thought the venue was perfect. I wish I had something.
It's beautiful. Straight off
the road and just surrounded by hotels and a couple of restaurants, and smack in the middle was where the event was. I thought it was great.
Other than Mike and I couldn't get to the barbecue. Remember? We couldn't get to the barbecue restaurant, Mike. Remember?
Yeah, it was jammed.
The same thing happened to us, but there's always the Waffle House.
I mean, that is a good location, but like Garcia and I talked about, it was weird that it was a Friday, Saturday, and it closed at 5, and all your people that are working can't go to the show until Saturday, and then they come Saturday, and it's like, oh man, half the stuff's been cleaned out already.
The first year we had the large scale train show on Friday, Saturday, because that's when they did it. So I said, okay, the other large scale shows. So I said, okay, I'll try that. The dumbest thing I ever did. So we immediately the following year moved it to Saturday, Sunday for that exact reason.
Yeah, because you're almost like missing half the boat, right?
Yeah. So I'll never do Friday. I'll never do Friday again unless we stay open until 10 o'clock at night. But
that's why we don't travel Fridays anymore either.
yeah. I'd rather just do Saturday, Sunday, and that's it.
Yeah, Fridays are good for the retired folks or those that that don't have to work on a Friday. But yeah, it is tough when you do a Friday, Saturday. Feel like you missed half of it. And Saturday, Sunday seems to be a nice sweet spot. And I know, like the St. Louis RPM, they do it and that for a reason, and others. But it is tough. You had to take that day off. It's why sometimes, national conventions and stuff like that, when they're a week long, they take an entire week off to be able to do those things. It's not easy for the working guy. Retired folks, they got plenty of time on their hands. It's easy, but yeah, it's definitely makes it a little tougher. So yeah, it's always great when it's on a weekend.
Well, and that's kind of why we travel now on a Thursday, is because we get down Thursday and then set up Friday at the show, and gives us a little bit of a break instead of one day travel. And pray to the weather gods that everything's good crossing and traveling for one day setup. So I mean, that's why we go the Thursday or whatever we're gonna do, and then come back on the Monday. We're kind of jet lagged from driving, but not totally burn out.
Pull up John. Pull up Mini Prince's comment there. I think it's a good one there, Mike.
Can you not click on that, Ray, and show them too?
I'm not an administrator in here. You are. I'm not hosting this show. You are, buddy. I'm off tonight.
What are the
Don't you have a blue red?
Is that the one you're looking at? What are the top tips for the show, Ray?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. I think it's a good question.
If you've never been, guys, here's the secret. Go to railroadhobbyshow.com, go to Who's Who, and print or not print, but download the list of exhibitors. There'll be a program that will be given out to you free with the map in it. That'll show where all the locations are. But the fact that you could download the Excel version of the spreadsheet of the list of the exhibitors, if you know Excel, grab that, sort it by building. All right, and then you can do alphabetical with each building, or by section in each building, and so it'll give you an idea of who's where, and then highlight the people that you want to see by building, and then you start walking around that building, and you take that list with you, and that'll really make a difference. That's one of the secrets, and the other secret is try. Yeah, there you go. That
I don't know how good you can see it, but
two versions of that. You can get a PDF, which is just an alphabetized list of everybody. It's like 6 plus. It goes into a 7.
6 pages. Yes.
Yeah.
it's
but,
7 pages.
Don't grab that one. Grab the Excel spreadsheet so you can manipulate it the way you want it first, then print it out, then highlight what you want to see, who you want to see, that kind of thing. That makes a huge difference. So yeah, if you go to Railroad Hobby Show, and up at the top, Who's Who, okay, and then a list of exhibitors, and then scroll down a bit, and then you'll see 2 versions of how you could print it out. And it actually says download the Excel spreadsheet for those, and then because then once it's downloaded, you can manipulate it however you want.
Yeah, it's not a Word document, easy to use.
Yeah, Mike, just share my screen. I put my screen up there. Share mine. I already got it set up. If you want, and I'll show folks.
Right there. There you go.
Yeah. So you take this list, take column 3 and put a filter on it. If you know how to do filters, put a filter on it, and then you can actually sort it whichever way you want, and sort it by, like I sorted it. This one happened to be by building when I was putting a list together. So you can sort it by building, you can sort it by client in alphabetical, or you can go in here and select the ones that you want to see and break down the list. And
yeah, you can even highlight them and print it out as long as you have like a color.
Exactly. Yeah, but you could do that as well. So the easiest way, if you take it, exactly what John said, download the Excel file. I throw a filter on what would be row 3, and then break it down whichever way you want. But you can manipulate it around. You want to just see all the ones that are new this year. You can go say, okay, I want to see all the new guys this year.
Yeah,
there they are. There's all the new ones.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Big list.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there should be. There's probably 29 of them. And you'll see right above scalesigns.com is Pico from the UK. And another one I picked from St. Louis guys is microengineering.
Yep, they're coming.
They'll be there in a big way, so that'll be great. So yeah, I'm excited with the new folks that are here.
Under new family ownership too, John.
I know. I've been trying to get him to come for the last couple of years, but he was smart. He just wasn't ready. He had to learn about the new molds and the old molds, and this, that, and the other thing, and then run some stuff so he had some stock. He did a nice job and he's finally ready to go. So it's good.
He's
there's a lot.
Somebody asked where I'm going to be at, so I'm going to be in the Young Building, section 99.
Yes.
I'm in my forever home in BLC 39. Thank you, John. I'll forever be there.
Listen, if you love your spot, you always let me know.
I'm never move until I die.
Yeah, there you go, and I won't move you until I die. So then who knows what's going to happen, right?
We're golden. We're golden.
Oh, we like this comment.
It's
we get a discount code.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it right now.
Oh, cool. It's almost a catch-22 with exhibitors versus patrons. Exhibitors love to be in the same place because everybody knows where they are, and patrons say, "No, the show gets stale because it's always the same vendors." Well, I'm not buying that because every year it's about 7 to 10% new exhibitors. And honestly, I'm going to err on the side of the exhibitors. They're the ones that make the show so great because when they do well, they'll come back and it keeps the show what it is. So when an exhibitor is happy, I get real happy. I had a couple situations last year. On Saturday, I was walking around making the rounds. I try to make the rounds about every other hour or so, but it takes me a long time to walk through all of the buildings. But I stopped by one exhibitor and I said, "How you doing?" And I knew it was more crowded than I had ever seen it. By 2:00 there was still a line of 200 people and waiting to get tickets at the ticket booth. I mean, it went fast, but the lines were still there. I'd never seen the lines last that long. Anyways, I asked him how he was doing, and he stuck his hand down his pocket, and he couldn't get his hand out. And if you guys remember the old gas stations, the attendants at the gas stations back, and I mean in the old days, my old days, which is 50s and 60s, he pulls out the biggest wad of cash I had ever seen. He couldn't get his hand out of his pocket. And he says to me, "I didn't do that well." And I go, and I bought it. I bought right into it. He goes, "I wanted both pockets full of all of this." But then he turned to me and he said, "It's the best show I've ever had." So it was funny.
So I just created a discount code for 10%. If you put in TSM for the site for Trackside Mike, and then put the number 10 behind it, you'll get 10% off on your order on the website right now. It'll be a one-time purchase, so make it good, but it never expires.
You gonna do that at the show or on here?
Say again?
You gonna do that at the show? Like down in Amherst or?
Well, I'm gonna do it tonight, right now. I just said okay, it's good to go.
Yeah. Ray does that for the shirts that I get around the layout podcast.
Yeah, there's discount codes floating out with Dundas and TSM and
Monday night off the track.
So was it TSM 10?
TSM 10.
Yeah.
Yep, and that'll get you 10% off, and that will never expire. So as long as trackside mic is running, it'll be up there.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not going anywhere like John. We're gonna stay in this hobby for a long time, eh? Hey, John.
Yeah, that's what asking me earlier is, there are probably some signs that I have that I haven't even sold one yet. And but see, the thing is that I want to have that sign if somebody needs it. So we'll never scale back. Once I make it, it's there forever. If I don't sell it, I don't. But at least one day somebody might go like, "Hey, I need this," and it'll be there. So somebody was, I think it was Sarah that was talking, one of my employees, and she's like, "No, so you never scale back." Kind of liked it. So we'll never scale back. We're not going nowhere. I'm young, and we'll be here for a while.
Yeah.
Mine, Mike, I'd like to quickly just plug this as well. We're talking about lists and stuff. I have a little fun thing I'm doing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this, Ray.
Yeah, so kind of just started as a list, and then I said, let's play a little bingo. So there's a PDF for the ones that have supported our podcast and where they're going to be located. And I said, for fun, get folks, you can print this out. They'll give you two lists, but we'll have some at our booth as well. You can stop by. We'll hand you a list and get the card full to check off that you've been to every single one. And then we're kind of on the honor system and then share them up on the Friends of Around the Layout podcast group on Facebook. And, we'll just see how many people have actually gone around and filled out the cards. We might do something a little bit more formal next year with this, but for this year, just kind of a little bit of fun just to make sure you get around and support those that have been supporting the podcast and helped us with a lot of the great giveaways and so on. So definitely get around and see those folks.
Ray, you should do the QR code like they do with quilts on side of barns where you have like a different code. And when you hit it, it tells you something about that company. You ever seen those before with the quilt codes?
That's a pretty good idea right there.
It sounds awesome. I just don't have the bandwidth. I barely had bandwidth to make this in Word and create it into PDF. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of amazing ideas to get folks to make sure they get around and see. And, so we're going to go old school with a bingo card. But yeah, QR codes are another cool way, or check-ins and that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, just if you're interested in playing along and just want to check out, make sure you get over and support all the folks that have supported Around the Layout podcast. Just go around, check off all the boxes, and then share a picture of maybe you with your card or something, and we'll see how many folks get the whole thing filled out. So
that's awesome. You got like is everybody on the show on that bingo card, or
everybody, every person that all the ones that have either appeared on the show so far or have supplied stuff to the show, or it's all amazing. 30, I think it's 32 or 33 of them that are at the show. So
I was quickly looking at that before the show started tonight, and I was like, wow, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm sending them over to you and Lorne over in section 39 in the BLC. So
send them over, and I'll print one off tomorrow.
There you go.
Just want to say a quick word. I am honored to be on the show tonight among all you gentlemen here today.
I'm honored to have all you guys on the show tonight.
But before this, I was just that guy that was playing trains in my basement, enjoying and having fun and trying to figure things out. And it's really, I feel really honored to be one of the guys now that helped make the model railroading a great place and the best hobby in the world.
Oh, I would say it 100 times over. The cottage industry, the small business like Lorne at Otter Valley, and the stuff they're doing and what you're doing is really what's making us in the golden era of model railroading. No longer do you have to wait for a big manufacturer to come out with something. You guys are getting that niche stuff done, and it's absolutely amazing to see. So thank you to you guys for moving that needle forward, and then the rest of the cottage industries that are out there and the amazing stuff that they're doing. We love the big guys too, and they do some amazing stuff. But when you're able to pinpoint, a road sign from Route 2 in Montana, and you can go buy it from scalesigns.com or whatever. I'm pigeonholing you to a specific sign, but that's the kind of amazing stuff. Or specific cars that Lorne has been able to do with Otter Valley, be able to buy an Oak Ridge car, because I see him here in Connecticut and he's got them available, and don't have to find somebody that has the decals and try to come up with something close. You can get the exact thing. That's what's making the hobby really amazing right now, for sure.
Yes. 100%.
Oh yeah, I really think it's back in the day you had Roundhouse and you had Athearn Blue Box. That's what we had. And some people say that the model railroad industry right now is a little on the expensive side. And yeah, so you got scale trains that has got a $200 engine or even a little bit more. But back when it was Athearn Blue Box, if anybody even remembers what that is. Yeah, it didn't come with a decoder. And then, we would get Detail West and we'd get those little brass pieces, and we'd probably buy $100 in brass little detail parts. Take that Athearn plastic injection mold and cut the crap out of it, and then glue these little tiny precision pieces to get what Scale Trains is doing now. And when you really think about it, it's almost the same price back when we were kids. It's just that Scale Trains is just doing it for us, and it's some beautiful stuff. And but it's definitely, I saw at the St. Louis RPM show, there was a lot of 3D people out there, and it's really making a lot of those little details that are coming out. And the big guys, the Bachmans and the Walters, they build these big runs of what they feel people want. But then you got the little guys. What'd you call it, Ray? The cottage people.
I call it cottage industry. Yeah. Yep.
And those cottage industry guys, they're making the little niches. And I really think the model railroad industry is actually better today and stronger than it was before, because there is now almost nothing you can't have if you're looking for it.
Yeah. Like, I remember when you're talking about blue boxes, the Athearn blue boxes, what were the locomotives, like $35, $27?
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, the hobby's come a long way. And then, the showstopper, whatever you want to call it, came out. And then I caught Chris from Go Via Go Home, a couple of his videos. And I'm like, these things make sound now? Like, where have I been for 20 years? And this guy shops at OVR, so then I started checking out OVR, and then Lorne and I have been good friends for almost 6 years, and it's just grown from there.
You did kind of live in my house for like 7 weeks, Mike.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody.
And yet you're still good friends. That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's because he smokes cigarettes with my dog. That's why.
Oh.
Just so everyone know, my dog has a nicotine addiction.
Oh, great.
I was going to say, mine was getting an Atlas Austrian. I know, John, you probably still got some Atlas Austrian that are still going, yellow boxers. That was my golden age of trains, getting the yellow box Atlas with the Austrian drives and just, detailing it up. One of the first ever people I met in the hobby I was 7 years old, and I met Lionel Strang, who was writing for Model Railroader, and he was talking about his recent article doing the mushroom layout and his layout, and talking about doing Atlas RS1s and cutting the corners and stuff like that. This is a hobby where we make friends forever. It really is.
Oh, 100%.
So.
Well, I appreciate the super chat. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I need to pick you guys a dude because I have 7 days of hard work still ahead. And John, I will see you on Friday. Ray, I will see you Friday. Chris, I will see you Thursday. Mike, I will see you at my house Wednesday night.
Probably before
I will see you setting up Scale Signs guy. We'll chat.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll probably be down possibly Monday or Sunday. But
John, just so you know, I have wrote into several of the high-ranking people, and you need to be recognized for all the hard work you have done to keep this the greatest show in the hobby. And your team and your people, but your dedication needs to go on record, because without you, there is no Big E. You are Big E, in my opinion, John.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lauren,
very much.
before you jump
I'm
off,
interested in promoting the hobby. And when people say that this hobby is dying, I say, come to our show. Tell me tell me it's dying.
First time I ever met you, John, I realized how much you love the hobby, and that was enough for me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Lauren, before you jump off, John mentioned earlier. What were you saying earlier, John, about the international? Like you got that official done this week?
Oh yeah, I am an official with U.S. Customs registered importer now for folks that need to get things into the show. Yep. So we need to talk more about that, and we could do that at the show because I know a lot of guys have trouble bringing stuff across the border, and perhaps we should ship it now and see if that makes a difference. But we'll talk about the options.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, just because he wasn't up at the start of the show, I thought, well, I better pop that back up again because I thought that was some pretty good info.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thanks for the good words. I appreciate that.
No problem, John.
Any other questions, Chris? You got any questions for our great guests?
I feel like I have a million questions. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll round off what I have to say. You guys are awesome, John. I appreciate all the work that you once, but it was an amazing time. So I'm really looking forward to this year and many more years ahead. So I appreciate you, putting it all together and your team. And yeah, it's just you're doing amazing work. So keep it up.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's just with everybody that goes, all the vendors. I've met so many amazing people, and of course, because and I'm sure Ray and Mike can contest to this. It's talking on and doing the live shows every week or every month, and getting to meet the people that watch or come out and talk to us while we're doing this sort of thing, and getting to meet them live in person. There's definitely a brotherhood, if I may, and just
there is. It is definitely that. You make some lifelong friends, as you guys have alluded to, in this hobby. You really do.
Absolutely, it's an amazing hobby, and yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Oh, awesome stuff. I know, John, you're pretty busy. Been very muchly appreciated that you are willing to come up on the show tonight. The questions and the answers, if anybody in the chat has any questions for John. John is a busy man, right? He's probably like 300 days of the year, probably busy.
That's about right.
Yeah.
And listen,
like we give you the month off of February, so
you could always email me at showdirector@amherstrail.org. I always try to get to every single question because there's no dumb questions. They're good questions.
Yeah.
So if you think of it after this podcast, just shoot me an email. No worries.
I got a question now for you, John.
Okay.
What's the attire going to be? Are we dressing as Engineer John now, or are we going to pull out the three-piece, or what can we expect out of John Sacerdote for?
I did the three-piece conductor 2 years ago, and this year I said, I don't want to dress up in that suit again. So I decided to get some coveralls. I just went on Amazon, got some coveralls my size. I already had the work shirt, of course, that we use, the floor managers use. I had to buy a red bandana, and I had a conductor's hat. I had to buy not the conductor's hat, the engineer's hat. So I had to buy the coveralls, the bandana, and the hat. So Amazon was like, boom, boom. I was at my house 2 days later on time to make the commercial. So nice. But I am not dressing up at the train show.
No, because we've seen you dressed up there before. So yeah.
You know why? Because the woman that donated that, her husband has passed away. And she said, John, I'd like to just let you have the conductor's outfit. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'm so grateful. I will actually wear it to the show on Sunday. And I did. But that promise was kept. So that was enough. Although I still have that uniform. So
We joke about apparel, but I'll take in the words of the great David Lee Roth. Get yourself some sensible shoes. And because that is one thing I can tell you about Amherst. We talk about our voices going away, and then you think about your feet. They are concrete floors.
Yeah,
That's
I
going to be my advice.
I wear 2 pairs of socks each day, and as much arch support in a pair of shoes as I can get, because it's a bear walking around endlessly around 9 acres. Yeah.
Here's a question for you, sign guy. Do you do custom work as well?
So yes, we do custom work. The list is a little long right now because, like I had mentioned earlier, all the artwork is done in Photoshop, so it's all in layers. So it's we can get to it, makes custom work easier, and because of that, and we pretty much don't say no. There's pretty much nothing we can't make. We do custom work. Just give us a call, and I send out an email with a custom work form, and then we just go from there until we get what you need.
I got custom work from you, from scalesigns.com. I sent a request for Providence and Worcester trespassing signs, and he was able to make them. So
those are the yellow ones, correct?
That's the yellow ones, yeah. So got custom work out of you, and they not only did you custom, you also, I think you made them available as well. So anybody that's a Providence and Worcester model railroader, I think you can get in Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Mass. I think they have 3 different signs for each state. So you made those available as well. So
pretty much
cool. Yeah.
Pretty much 99% of anything that comes in custom ends up turning into a product.
Right.
Because I mean, if, like I said before, if one person asks for it, there's probably other people who want it also. So pretty much the custom work, they become products also.
Well, you just got a plethora of options to do stuff. I mean, you think about it, the millions of signs in the world that one could want to add to their life. It's almost endless to you. It's crazy.
It is endless. And what's crazy is I'm becoming like this Wikipedia of signs. I'm learning so much, which is crazy. I had one guy wanted a custom sign. I guess there's a brown Bigfoot sign somewhere in Colorado. And I'm like, yeah, I'll make that brown Bigfoot sign. And now I made it a product, and that thing sells, which is crazy. So many people want Bigfoot. And then on Facebook, I found a sign that says, "No stupid people beyond this point." I fell in love with that sign. So like, you know what? I'm going to make it. And holy crap, that thing sells like the Bigfoot.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, it is. So I love all the custom work that comes in. I just did one for Griffin Wheel. They've been making railroad wheels since 1877 or something like that. So I thought it was pretty cool to be making a sign. He's making a model of his building where they make these railroad wheels. And I thought it was kind of cool to be making a sign for a railroad company. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
We should actually get them in touch with Bernard from Mini Prints, because they make I think he calls it a Sasquatch, but HO scale Sasquatch.
Yeah.
That would be really good with the signs.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure, because there's a guy named Tom. He lives in Ohio. He's the one that had me make that, and he's got the sign, and then off in the bushes is a little brown Bigfoot Sasquatch. So yeah, I can see how people have fun with that.
Yeah, you need an in and out store sign.
Yeah, I seen a Tim Horton for the drive-through and in the in and out. And I originally kind of made those drive-through signs a little bit generic, but I'm kind of perfectionist, and so I'm like, no. So now I'm slowly converting the ones that are kind of generic to the original ones. And I'll get on the internet and look for some in and out in Tim Horton, and I'll get those up there on the drive-through.
Be careful with the Tim Hortons. If you don't get a cease and desist, be very careful.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like a Via.
Be very careful.
Yeah.
Okay, so
via Jim Norton's.
If some of you read my little story, I was in the Army and for 13 years, and we have a saying in there: it's better to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission. So I'll take that. I'll go down that road when that road comes.
Yeah.
So for the custom signs, is it just a matter of someone sending a photo and saying I'd like this billboard or something close to it?
Pretty much that's about 99% of it. Is somebody sends me a picture of what they want. I say maybe send me a few so I can see something in the background that gives me the sense of size. And like bricks are the same size, stuff like that. And once I get there, then I know the dimension because I like to be close as possible. So pretty much, just a picture and a couple questions, and off I go. And then I always send a proof before we print it out. And some people have little tweaks here and there. We just knock them out and get it done.
What about decals? Do you do custom decals?
So we're gonna one day do decals, and that's just one thing about decals that's I don't know if people know, but when you're printing signs like I do, the background is already white, so it's really easy because the paper is white. But on a decal, it's clear. So printers don't print white because the paper is already white. So it's a special piece of machinery. So eventually I might go into details, but I don't know if I had already mentioned it before. There's a Wiz Khalifa has a song, and in there he talks to in the song he says he talks to his buddy, and his buddy says if you want to make it in this business, stay in your lane. And so I make sure that if it doesn't have a sign, it's got to have a sign for me to make it. Otherwise, I'll be busy making all kinds of parts, and that's what the mini print guy, he's there to do all those little things. So I pretty much stick to signs. So that is how I kind of like stay in my lane. If somebody asks for something, I'll try to help them out, point them in the direction. But pretty much, I just stick to signs and we just go from there. So decals, that one is the one that it's kind of iffy, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, it's the small things that matter, right? The small details and stuff that really pop out your layout. It's kind of like the scale sound speakers. I was hoping to have JT on tonight. He'll be at the show in Amherst. Scale speakers. So easy to pop in and out of your locomotives, Athearn, Rapido, you name it, he makes them. They're a great speaker sound system. Can't wait to see JT down at the show.
Speakers from an audio engineer. That's the big thing. The guy that knows audio, and the results are amazing.
And
absolutely
right there
amazing.
Is a prime example of staying in your lane. Be good at what you're doing. This guy is an audio engineer. He comes up with these speakers that are just incredible. Why? Because he lives and dreams that stuff, and so it's going to be an awesome product.
Yep.
And you these things like it doesn't sound loud on a live, but if you're in a basement or a room, they just pop. Oh, we lost Lorne, but he might have had to go because he's pretty busy. But they just pop, right? Scale sound speakers. They're just incredible engineering it is.
Well, you swear by them, right? You have a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, everything at our club layout has scale sound speakers in it.
All of my locomotives have been changed over to it. Don Iris, Don, for those that may not know, Don Iris is a co-host for me in one of the shows. Well known for doing DCC installations. He swears by them. It's what he uses. Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah. And the availability, the fact that he makes them for each mod, it's not like some generic that you got to figure out how to fit it. And then the support behind it is great too. If you got a problem or a question, I had one that I was kind of struggling with, and he walked me right on through it. And with little to no modifications of the locomotive, you can slide a scale sound speaker right into it.
Yeah. Yeah, each locomotive, like this ones I'm showing here, this is for Athearn Genesis GP38, GP50. Just slide right in. Right, they're already cut out. Have the mounting brackets. Just take the old speaker out, put this one in, solder your 2 speaker wires, you're done.
And once again, there you go with cottage industry. These small guys that can focus on it. If you had a bigger manufacturer, they're going to want to kind of pick the middle of the road and the most popular models that, with JT, he's able to drill down and focus on it and then find, hit the niche stuff, then just drives it. And, John knows that, talk about the small companies. And that's what, again, going back to talking about Amherst, you have those folks elbow to elbow with the big boys, and you've got so many different niche things. And well, I love small business and watching it grow. And Amherst is a great place to take a small business and grow it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And that's like these signs coming out, and it's just one thing after another. And John just met Garcia in St. Louis, right? Same thing. It's just
Yeah,
you go to these shows and meet these people.
It's Garza. Just
Garza.
Garza. Yeah.
Garza.
Yeah.
Yeah. You meet these people, and that's how this hobby grows, right? And then you go to Amherst, and John has a great big lineup down there, and it's just wild.
Yeah. Like I said, once again, I'm honored to be here, and John, I'm honored being invited to the show, and you guys are kind of scaring me a little bit.
Oh no, you'll enjoy it. So there's the wizard from the club there, Adam. He Adam does all our speed matching and stuff, and troubleshooting with the layout wiring. Ray, you got to come up here one of these days. I got to get you to the club.
Yeah, I got to get my passport. I got to figure out. You figure out how to get in the U.S. I got to figure out how to get into Canada, and see if they'll let me. See if they'll stop.
Passport.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have.
Well, in Michigan, we have
driver's license, right?
Yeah, in Michigan, we have the driver's license, and we just go to the Department of Motor Vehicle, and they ask a few questions, and then they do something on the our driver's license that makes it special. So when we go to Canada, the Canadian Mountie guys just scan our license, and then we just go right on through.
I have something on my driver's license. It says revoked. I don't know if does that do it, or I don't know.
That's not a good sign.
That might get you turned around really quick.
Oh, okay.
Press Canada for a second.
Yeah.
Security threat, is that supposed to be?
But enhanced driver's license, I think that's what they are, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I tell you a little. I think I don't know. I must have been about 18 or something like that, and we decided we're like, hey, let's just go to Canada, and it was about 10, 11 o'clock at night. We showed up the Canadian border about 12 o'clock, and they're like, what is your business in our country? We're like, we're sightseeing. It's like 12 o'clock at night. They're like, no, you can go back to your country, and they turned us around.
You should just mention the maple syrup. They'll let you on through.
Yeah.
Going to get a truckload. Really looking forward to next week. Like I say, seeing a lot of great people that I've met over the years down there, from YouTube and in person at train shows, and John and Ray. Really looking forward to, greatest show of the year. That's what I look after right after Christmas. It's a great show.
No doubt.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to leave here, I think, Wednesday, just in case there's a snowstorm or something. I'll have plenty of time to get there and drive safe and get there and have some enjoy. And like John was talking about earlier, it's going to be kind of nice to hang out with some people and see what they do after the show when it closes, and go hang out, maybe start some traditions myself with some people there.
Not in Quebec. They stay open until midnight. Yes, thanks again for the discount code. That's awesome. And get those orders in. And I believe Bernard said tomorrow he was going to announce. Tomorrow's Friday.
He said Monday. He said Monday he's going to announce a code.
Or Monday. Monday he's going to announce a code. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm live again Monday. Off the tracks Monday.
I'll be working hard on Monday.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I might be working hard too. Got to wait and see what's happening here. I'll have to talk to Lorne after the show. And we got lots to do before we leave Wednesday.
Well, I hope everybody has a safe trip going down there, and I really look forward and having fun and seeing all you guys in person. I met John. Oh no, wait a minute! I met everybody except the go home guy, Chris.
Yeah.
The go home guy. Oh, no,
go home. Go home. Go home, Chris.
Go home. Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm going to sign off. I really appreciate everything, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys next week.
Yeah,
John,
appreciate you
always
coming on,
awesome.
John.
All right. Thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
You have a
Yes,
good day,
sir.
John.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys. See ya.
See you, John. And a shameless plug for anybody who wants to hear John talk more about Amherst and whatnot, aroundthelayout.com/139. I interviewed John. He talks about it. Yeah, he's off, and everybody gave him a lot of credit, and I think he deserves every single ounce of credit. The passion he shows for this show. It's not just put the show on, like he talked about. Go to St. Louis, do the research. Not just anybody can get into this show, by the way. You got to qualify, and he qualifies you. He makes sure that you're somebody legitimate, that you're going to add to the show. If you're just going to show up and, maybe you got, some whatever that everybody else, he really is looking for great vendors to continuously grow this thing. So if you want to hear him talk a bit more about that, we've interviewed him a few times with the latest one, again, aroundthelayout.com/139. John talks all about it and the money that's spent there and everything else. It's just absolutely amazing. It is a show that turns over millions of dollars, and really is a catalyst for our hobby.
Yeah. And that's why I enjoy the hobby so much, is because of people you meet along the way, like meeting you 3 years ago down there, Ray, and meeting Chris 4 or 5 years ago, and then meeting Garcia last year. And did I say it right that time?
You stuck with Garcia. It's Garza with a Z.
Garza. I don't know why I say Garcia. I don't know.
But it's all right. It's they're just really close. So
yeah.
I understand. Yeah, John, the few times I talked to him, you can hear the passion he has for that show.
Yep.
He said he's been doing it for 2 decades plus. And
awesome.
And like I told you, I've been doing this for 2.5 years, and I'm working like 10 hours a day, but I haven't worked an hour yet because I enjoy what I'm doing. And definitely John, when he talks, when I've heard him talk about the show, you hear the passion in his voice, and that's why I'm going to get to see what that show is and what makes it so great, and he's the one that does it.
Yeah,
and his helpers.
Yeah, great people too. That John's team and stuff to get you into where you got to go and set up, and parking and stuff, and how do you get into where your booth is to give you time to set up and stuff. It's just it's a well done show.
Well-oiled machine for sure.
Oh yeah, she's lined in, lined out.
Very smooth last year.
Yeah.
Well, I will find out. I'll find out in a week, right? Yeah, I'll find out about a week.
What's today?
Today's Thursday. Today's Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
We leave the week.
I think what we ought to do, and this is my suggestion to you, Mike, is you have Tom on the Monday after Amherst, and we'll just check his pulse and see how he's doing. Just a well-being check. I think we'll have to have a well-being check on him on Monday just to see how he's doing. Yeah, I think you're going to be busier than heck, and then I think you're going to have a great time, and I think you're going to be pretty tired on that Monday. So,
well, I'll tell you, Ray, you gave me a lot of good tips. I'm already thinking that I'm going to have to find some like cough drops or something to help my voice, because I do like talking, and there's going to be a lot of people there. And then definitely, I totally forgot about the shoes, because it's a concrete floor. Because now you helped me remind me at the St. Louis show on Sunday. Yeah. I think by noon, my feet were done.
Padded mats. I don't know if you've got, any like a Harbor Freight or anybody around you. It's got like those, shop mats. Grab a few of those, lay them down too. Because when you're standing, get that foam under your feet.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing at the Around the Layout podcast booth. I put foam down, and then we have chairs too. I mean, I like standing when I talk. I don't like sitting in the chairs, but everyone, you do need a spot where you can go and just sit back for a few minutes and rest your feet and rest your voice too. Yeah.
Well, we got 6 tables there. I'm definitely going to have a little hideout spot where we can just get away for a second.
Yep.
I think last year I had 2 bags of throat lozenges, right? Because you are doing a lot of talking. We had a case of water, Gatorade.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a mat. I wore shoes. I'm going to wear my Red Wing Irish Setter work boots, because it's just like going to the train club. you're standing on cement all day, and by the end of the day, you're like, you don't realize by standing on cement, your feet and your knees are like you're whipped. So yeah, definitely have comfort.
I'm definitely gonna get some rubber mats.
Yeah.
To answer Alex Mantle's question he put up there, he's asked if Around the Layout Podcast is doing a live Facebook event from the show, and I will tell you we will not be. And the reason why, we talk to so many people in person that, to try to do stuff live, we will. I am awaiting what will be hopefully a huge announcement about a giveaway at our booth. We did one last year. I think this year is going to be 5 times that big, as big as last year. So it's going to be, I'm really hopeful. I'm telling you guys, and hopefully the folks here, again, I can't get any details, and I hope everything comes to fruition. I'm pretty sure it's going to, but we're so busy. I did try to do it. We talk to a lot of folks. We meet a lot of our next guests on Around the Layout Podcast. I have a feeling that scalesigns.com will be one of those.
Yeah.
And, we talk to so many other people and do that. We don't do it live. There's other folks that do some live streams. Check out the YouTube channels. There's a lot of folks that walk around, do some videos and stuff. There's a lot of content that comes out of Amherst. But again, if you can't make it, that's great. Oh, and Virtual Railfan. If you want to check out that, Virtual Railfan does the live cameras as well. So check out Virtual Railfan's feed. You get to see that, and we'll all walk by and we'll wave at the cameras for you and wish you were there with us, and try to make plans. And if you can't make it out this year or next year, but just try to pencil in some time to get to West Springfield in late January and experience it once. Especially if you hear it 100 times over how great it is. And I hate to drum it on folks that can't make it, but just try to get there once in your lifetime. It's definitely worth the trip.
And that's what I've been saying. It's a bucket list, right?
Yeah, it is.
If you haven't been there once, do it once in your life.
For
It's
sure.
a bucket list.
Yep.
The what was the other thing I was going to say? Usually Heath from Humanity Junction.
Yeah, I don't know if I think he doesn't have plans of streaming this year.
No?
From what I talked with Heath, I don't think he's still on. I know he had popped in a little earlier. But I'm sure with the plethora of YouTubers that are going to be at the show, I'm sure somebody will be doing stuff or creating content. So if you won't see it live, you'll be seeing it. You'll be seeing it afterwards. But I don't believe Heath has any plans on a live, because that's one thing. It's you want to be able to absorb the show too. And I know Heath has talked about that. Like when you have the camera in front of you, you're not really, there's a bit of a disconnect, where you versus having the camera down and just being able to just go and be able to absorb what's going on. It's overwhelming. It's you talk about planning ahead. When you walk in, it's kind of, sensory overload. It's like, whoa, you see all the, a lot of stuff going on, some great booths, especially if you walk in to the Better Living Center first. And maybe that'll be one of my other tips. And I don't know if you guys are in the BLC or not. I'm not picking on just, don't go to the BLC first. If you're there on Saturday, like if you want to just warm up, go to the Young, Mallory or Stroh. And then work your way over to the BLC, because a lot of people go to the BLC first. So anybody here, if you want a cheat and get in shorter lines, go look at the Young, Mallory, and the Stroh. That'll get you into a building, and you'll be able to start your day off really quick. So,
well, and you saw the rig that he had last year, right? The camera rig that Heath had. That has to be hard on the back.
Yeah.
Like it was like.
Yeah, he was. He was tired too. He did a lot of walking, and that's a lot of work. A lot of talking, a lot of that. So yeah, I think he's taking a year off from that. But like I said, there'll be others. I mean, there's tons and tons of videos. I always watch them and see if I see myself walking by, and who else I can catch that I may have missed. So there you go. Foam mats at Canadian Tire for $19.99.
Well, that's cheap.
For a 4-pack. John Garvin's pointing out that nice deal. If you're in the States here, Harbor Freight, or if you get even in the area, Ocean State Job Lot is something that's around here. They sell them at a discount price. If you get up towards this way and you want to buy them locally, like if you set up your table and decide you want to add them, just Google an Ocean State Job Lot or something like that. You'll be able to find them.
Yeah, so when you come in the gates, if you look at the map here now, Mallory Building is the first one you come across.
Okay.
Depends on what parking you go to. So
Yes.
you can park anywhere in those directions. It's just, again, a lot of people seem to go to the BLC first. They seem to be the longest lines by my experience.
Yeah,
So I think the best thing to do is, those other three outlying buildings. Better Living Center kind of looks like an weird, like, I don't even know what that shape is. Looks like home plate sort of.
Yeah.
And then, then
Pretty
you got
close.
the rectangular buildings, Young. The one that's got the couple rectangles off on an angle is the Mallory.
Yeah.
And then the Stroh is the smaller building that's off of Young.
And that's usually where Spring Creek is, Denny Elsman.
Yep, exactly. Yep, there's a couple other ones. Shephog Railroad is another great one. Great prices at Shephog Railroad for if you're looking for especially Atlas locomotives, they do really good there. Of course, our good friends at Spring Creek Model Trains, always neat to see them, and they do the 50 weeks a year they're on the road at train show, Spring Creek Model Trains. So they're amazing with two trailers. They got two trailers banging around. So I say 50 weeks, but 50, and some of them they may be at two different train shows, two crews. So they do amazing road show stuff. Lark Products. You mentioned Lark the other night, I think. Mike, about the CDs. So Lark Products in that building as well.
Yeah,
so
Stroh's, that's the backdrops that you can get on the disc or a thumb drive.
That's our good friend Bill Brown. He's from Central New York, and he's taken a lot of amazing backdrop photos over the years. And he's and the CNY layout is right next to it because he's part of that as well. So CNY layout, Bill Brown. Thank you, Dennis, for putting that comment up to remind us.
Yeah.
Also, Nick from ITLA, he couldn't make it on tonight, but he wanted me to say hi to everybody and let you all know that he is going to be at the show this year. He's in the BLC, and he's got an expanded booth. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like it's going to be even bigger than last year, and he always has a phenomenal display. I don't know if you guys have gotten to see the ITLA wood kits, but I highly recommend you guys go check them out. Perfection, honestly, perfection.
I think he's booth 42.
32.
32, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he does have a bigger booth this year.
Yeah.
John was talking earlier, that one layout that was in that one building. He said it was 160 feet by, I think he said 30 or 18 or something like that.
Is it that really long one in the Mallory?
That really long one.
Yeah.
That's back of the Mallory. Yeah.
That picture doesn't do it justice. I stood at the end of that thing, and I swear I needed a golf cart to really go around the whole thing. Because
here's the deal with that. He said 160 feet long, and if it's HO, you times that by 87 feet a foot. It's 13,902 feet. Which, when you divide that by 5,280 feet, that's 2.6 miles. In scale on one side. That's a 5-mile loop of scale track. That's crazy.
Imagine walking that all day, because you got to follow your train, right? You got to. They're getting their steps in for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's and I think the layouts are something that just don't get talked about enough there. We talk about vendors, and obviously for good reason, but the amazing layouts that are there, I think of those folks, and Torrington brings theirs, and the Valley HO track. Dry Hill has a working hump yard on their layout, which is neat to see. So so they got a working hump yard, and they do some phenomenal operations over there too. So and on. There's just so not only just to buy stuff, but to be inspired by stuff too, to be able to get new ideas and see these layouts. And, of course, if you're local, you bring your kids and let them see it as well. The Sunday's a big day for that, for the kids and stuff too. Lego stuff. There's just a massive variety of stuff, but it's all model railroading, which is just amazing, and railroad and model railroading. So that guy is there. He does some awesome stuff too.
Yeah. That's all chained down and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the St. Louis show, there was the little O scale layout in the back corner, and I think there was a couple SD40-2s in there, and those things were purring like kittens with their sounds in them, and I almost was like, I think I need to get rid of HO and go to O.
O is an amazing scale to look at, isn't it? It's like even with your cantilever stuff, when you held up that O, it's like, holy mackerel! Like I could put that on my shelf just to have that sitting on a shelf. That's all. It's such a tangible scale. It's amazing.
It is an incredible scale, and when I say, and it's 2-rail. That 2-rail is, I mean, the detail on it is beautiful. I was like, oh shoot, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And in my layout that I have here in the basement, it's only 8 feet by 16. So I really only need 16 by 32, and I can have the same layout. I just got to get rid of everything in the basement, and I think I have enough room.
That's what I'm working on.
That's the problem, is room, right?
Well,
always negotiating for real estate.
Yeah,
I took the bar down where I'm sitting right now behind me here. It used to be a bar, and I took that down last week and relocated pieces of it in the other room, and then the other pieces in my train shop, I call it. But I'm going to use that for like my airbrushing and stuff. So where I'm sitting kind of here now, this is the Helix area, and I'm just going to keep adding and get rid of the sports memorabilia. Not that I'm not a Leafs fan anymore. I'm just running out of room. I need more train room.
Yeah, there's never enough train room.
No,
there's never enough train room.
I said you're always looking for more real estate.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of this company, Rick? Right across from Dry Hill?
I don't remember his name, unfortunately, but
maybe probably got me turned around somewhere.
We might have been able to figure it out by map, but he's over there by Dry Hill, and he does amazing work, and I'm sure he'll be back again this year. So,
yeah, a lot of great stuff. Looking forward to seeing everybody next week.
Yep, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah. Chris, you got any more questions, or Ray, you got any more?
No, I think we've talked it enough. We got to go. Let's go. Let's get there. You can only talk it so long, and you got to do it. Just like the hobby, we got to get to the show. So looking forward to getting all the prep stuff that I'm doing just for one table. Imagine all these poor folks like Tom over there preparing for 6. I just got one, and I'm not selling anything, but it's a lot of work to get into it. But boy, it's about getting there and doing it. So.
Maybe, like a Thursday night or Friday night, we'll see, maybe dinner or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'll definitely. We'll see what we can do, guys. I can't wait. I can't wait to be there. You're right. I could probably do a whole another 2-hour podcast show, just probably talking what's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
This weekend. This weekend. Oh, not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah.
I think we started talking about it right around September, because you don't want to talk about it too soon and then everybody forgets about it. So we've been kind of talking about it for the last few months, and it's really boiled down to this. And, just looking forward to it all year long. Honestly, and I'm already looking forward to next year, and this one hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah. And the way you guys have talked about it, I know I'm going to probably be amazed. I'm going to probably go right up to John like, here's my money for next year right now. Just take it.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, it was really good last year. And, when you're not used to something like that, it was very reminiscent of the first time I walked into Otter Valley, because you look around and you're like, oh, wow, there's more. And then every time you turn a corner, there's even more. So you gotta mentally prepare for something like that, and
get ready for the sensory overload for sure. Yeah.
It is overload.
But yeah, like you said, it was by the end of the day, you're not going to be able to talk or anything. Like last year, when we got back to the hotel on the Saturday night, I did a live just to kind of recap the day and talk about some of the things that I had seen, or some of the new announcements that happened. And we're probably going to do that again this year. I don't know if it'll be on Mike's channel or mine, but we'll do a recap of Saturday, maybe Sunday as well, depending on how it goes. But
because you're not leaving until Monday either, are you?
Yeah, no, I got nowhere to be.
Travel back Monday early.
Oh yeah, it's the travel time that gets you, but as soon as you're there, you're good, and you know, you're with family and trains, and then you can really let loose, and you know,
The adrenaline's
talk
pumping.
shop.
No doubt, no doubt.
You're gonna bring the cars behind you.
Oh yeah, those ones are already done being weathered. I've got a bunch more here. These are the Otter Valley pipe cars. I already got them taped off. I got to give them a spray, but I did weather a whole bunch here right behind me, and we've got a display that we're gonna set up. I've got a couple of modules. The modules themselves are not complete because they're for the Ottawa Club. I just got to get the okay for the track plan, and then I'll be able to get the, you know, everything permanently in place. But I'll bring it just as a setup, a static display, really, just to display some of the cars that we'll be selling. Yeah, and of course the announcements. There's a couple of new announcements. Not going to say what they are, but you guys got to come by the OVR booth as well. Come check out, see what we're doing. Come say hi. You know, so that'll be great.
And I'm not sure if that's going to be Saturday or Sunday announcements. Usually he pops it out Saturday, I think.
Saturday is usually the big announcement day. Everybody's doing their big announcements on Saturday. So,
yeah.
Well, am I supposed to hold off on my stuff till Saturday?
if you got any, well,
you got some stuff yet.
You do you
right.
and you figure it out. You figure out what works for you.
I don't think you're going to have anything. You'll be like at St. Louis. Come Sunday, you'll be like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm almost out of stuff.
Yeah, I got a feeling it's going to be like that. I'm working really hard right now.
Yeah,
deal.
no worries, though. It's all about the fun.
Actually, I'm thinking now that the only time I'm going to get to go see those layouts is probably, if I'm lucky, sneak over there on Friday after I set up.
Sunday morning. Because remember, the doors don't open till 10 o'clock on Sunday. So you can get in early and it gives you a few hours. So that would probably be the time to make sure you get up early on Sunday, come in with a cup of coffee and get over there and check those folks out, because you'll be able to see them between like 8 and 10 or 7 and 10 or something like that. So,
I just want to relax and enjoy that view.
Yep.
And you're both in the young building, right?
Yes. Yeah, they're both.
Ray, what section are you on?
I'm 89D.
You're 89D and I'm 99F through I or something like that. So
yeah, which don't go by the numbers because they move, like, you know, they can be around the corner, but yeah, we're pretty close to each other.
Yeah, you guys are real close to each other.
Come see you guys either like Friday or Sunday morning or whatever. But
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we'll be there.
What day is the layout that you can go see? Is that Friday night?
Which layout?
Is it George?
Oh, yeah, FSM, the Franklin and South Manchester, which is George Celios's layout. I believe it's 9 to noon on Friday. So he's only, I think he's doing a half a day on Friday morning. If you're interested, the world famous, you know, Fine Scale Miniatures, George Celios, he's an open house. It is a layout that you talk about a bucket list layout. It's one that you have to see to understand. It is so amazingly detailed. You talk about sensory overload. Like, you need to go to George's, like, spend 10 minutes looking and then go stare at a wall to reset your brain and then go back and look at it for another, because there's so much. I mean, you look at an area like this big and it's jam packed and it's a huge room with, you know, a layout in it. And it's just so many little things to see. It's just, it's wild for sure.
What's George's last name?
Celios,
yeah.
Yep.
I think I'm doing work for him. And he sent me some pictures of that layout. And you're right. There's one little section I seen where it's just this big. And it's like a bridge and it's like a little street. And like there's 1,000 little things in this little 1 square foot section.
Yeah,
you could be there forever and never see all the detail that's in that thing.
No, yeah, you won't. You go back the next time, you'll see something completely, you know, it'll just be, you'll see something else. So, yep, it's an amazing thing. It doesn't, you know, the trains are, you know, really kind of secondary to all the amazing detail he has on it, and the kits that he's created, you know, based on that layout is what you see for Fine Scale Miniatures. So, older kits. So,
it was kind of like going to St. Louis, and George and Jim took me to Vic's layout there.
Yep. Oh yeah. Vic is very Celios-esque, you know, in that amazing amount of detail. Yeah.
So it's along the same line then, eh?
It's probably more detail than what you saw at Vic. Yeah. It's like,
wow.
Yeah. Because it's in a much bigger scale. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty
It's
impressive.
amazing. I mean, Vic's amazing. Yeah. But
wow.
For sure. Vic's has got an amazing atmosphere. That's what's really cool about Vic's. He's got the bar and everything else around it, and it's like a hangout. It really is a cool hangout at Vic Smith. So there,
and then it goes through the wall. So I mean, you got to have that going through the wall, right?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So
it was pretty wild. Yeah, very detailed, a lot of work.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what this hobby is all about. Just meeting
Absolutely.
people like that and expanding and getting the ideas and helping you out of tough problems too, right? Like,
and Floyd, you're absolutely right. Rod Stewart and George worked hand in hand. George did a lot of kits for Rod.
Oh wow!
And there was a collaboration there. So stuff that Rod was doing is very. You look at Rod's layout; that's very Celios-esque. Yep.
Yeah, and that's where Nick from ITLA comes in too. Nick has done a lot of work for our Rod Stewart building the skyscraper.
Absolutely, yep. Stuff. Yep, his ITLA, FSM. Yeah, he's got a lot of those kind of craftsman kits on there for sure. Yep.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm like a kid in the candy shop now. I'm not going to be able to sleep.
There you go.
Yeah, I drank that cup of coffee.
There you go.
Okay, all wound up thinking about the big show.
Well, I got my 3D printers are going. They're probably waiting for me to go clean some parts and start them over again.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on.
I appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. And Ray, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, you bet, buddy. We're looking forward to seeing you.
Ray's got me jealous. I think I got to go get a better mic.
Better mic?
Yeah, I think I get a better mic.
This is what I use. I just use snow globe.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. Chris has a Yeti, I think.
Yeah, the blue Yeti. I don't know if you can.
You don't have to be crazy like me. This is a locomotive right here. This is half of a locomotive. This is 2 locomotives. The board. Yeah, it's just think about it. Price everything in locomotives. Like,
that's a good way to do it because we all know how much those are.
Yeah.
No.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time. I enjoyed the conversation, and I look forward to being on your guys' show again one time.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sure.
See you next week. Yes.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the big sign off. Let's hear it.
Till the next one.
Yeah.
Keep it on the tracks. Hang on. I can stop sharing this, and if I go to media assist, I have an intro going out screen. Oh, I did. Where'd it go? I don't know if it plays or I got to end it to kick it off, but I could probably play this.
See you, Fred. Till the next one. Keep it on the tracks.
I spent probably about an hour down here last night doing that one.
There you go.
Was that a shot from Smith Falls?
It was, yeah.
Nice.
Ray, we got to really get you your passport because, I mean, you're more welcome to stay at any of our places when you come up.
I'll have to make a road trip out of it for sure. For sure.
Yeah, Smith Falls barbecue. We have an annual barbecue every year in Smith Falls. Chris puts on, and we have a blast. Right, it's just a bunch of guys hanging out, watching CP, trains all day long,
cooking burgers 5 feet from the tracks. That's how you can't get any closer.
That's the way you make burgers.
Yeah. Our buddy works at a place and he throws hats to us or whatever.
Yeah, but Bubs was actually railside there about a week or 2 ago, and
just before Christmas,
he threw a Via cap out the window of the locomotive at him.
Yeah,
so that was fun.
And we actually had a picture. We're all standing in a group towards the track as the Via is going by, and the engineer hung out the window.
Nice. Nice.
But we have a good time, right? That's what this hobby is all about. Doesn't matter if you're a rail fan, and that's where we get a lot of our ideas from, right?
Yep,
Our model
exactly.
railroad, you know, so like I said, I can go on for hours talking about.
Sign it off before you do.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's try this end screen stuff.
There you go.
All right, one last time and get a kick out of it.
See you, Fred. Till the next one. Keep it on the tracks.